back to the East Health TV. This video was created from an article on our health website. I'll drop the link to the article in the description box. After watching, please ensure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And please do come back for more. See you
Let's
soon.
jump right in, everyone. I am so excited to guide you through today's explainer. We're looking at something absolutely crucial right now, a silent metabolic condition that is literally hiding in plain sight for millions of us. Over the next few minutes, we are going to break down exactly what prediabetes is, why it's such a critical warning sign, and, best of all, how you can actually hit the brakes and reverse it.
So I want you to imagine a scenario. You're just going about your day, right? You feel totally fine, your energy levels are perfectly normal, but in the background, a hidden danger is actively damaging your blood vessels. Sounds crazy, but what if a major health threat had absolutely zero symptoms? Well, that is the stark reality of prediabetes. It's a condition where your blood sugar is elevated, but honestly, it often sets off zero physical alarms, none. And that creates a pretty immediate urgency for us to figure out what's really going on under the hood.
Okay, let's dive into this data, because honestly, the prevalence is just staggering. According to the CDC, more than 2 in 5 adults currently have prediabetes. 2 in 5. Just think about that. If you look around a room of just 10 adults, statistically speaking, 4 of them are walking around with elevated blood sugar levels that are quietly putting their future health at serious risk.
But you know what makes that statistic truly terrifying? It's the awareness gap. An overwhelming 80% of people with prediabetes have absolutely no idea they even have it. 8 out of 10. They are completely in the dark that their blood sugar is elevated. They're just living their lives day to day, missing this critical window of time where taking early action could make a massive, massive difference.
So what exactly is going on inside the body during the silent phase? Well, prediabetes is basically an intermediate stage. It's this gray area right between completely healthy blood sugar levels and full-blown type 2 diabetes. You aren't quite at the point of a type 2 diabetes diagnosis yet, but your system is under some pretty significant stress. It's really struggling to maintain that healthy blood sugar balance.
Now, to understand why this happens, we've got to talk about insulin resistance. Think of insulin kind of like a transport vehicle. Its whole job is to pick up sugar from your bloodstream and drive it right into your body cells so you can use it for energy. But when you have insulin resistance, your cells essentially just lock the doors. The transport vehicles can't get inside, and suddenly you've got this massive traffic jam of sugar building up right there in your bloodstream.
And this creates a pretty destructive biological chain reaction. Here's how it plays out. Step 1, you eat some food. Step 2, your pancreas produces insulin to handle all that incoming sugar. Step 3, your cells stubbornly resist that insulin. And finally, step 4, because that sugar literally can't get into the cells, it just pools up in the blood. If this nasty cycle keeps going, it eventually leads to something called beta cell dysfunction. That's a fancy way of saying the actual insulin-producing cells in your pancreas start to wear out and deteriorate from the sheer exhaustion of trying to overcome that resistance.
The absolute crucial point here is knowing if you're at risk. So let's fire through these common factors really quickly. Being over 35 is one, although to be honest, we're seeing this pop up way more in younger adults these days. Excess weight is another big one, especially that visceral fat around the belly. It's a massive driver because it literally releases inflammatory substances that actively block your insulin. Then there's physical inactivity, having a family history of diabetes, having conditions like PCOS, a past history of gestational diabetes, or even sleep problems like sleep apnea. Every single one of these is strongly tied to developing insulin resistance.
Now, I know we established earlier that prediabetes is mostly silent, but occasionally your body does try to set off a few subtle physical alarms. For instance, you might notice something called acanthosis nigricans. These are dark, velvety patches of skin that usually show up on the neck or in the armpits. You could also find yourself dealing with increased thirst, frequent urination, or just unexplained fatigue. And that fatigue happens because your cells literally aren't getting the sugar they desperately need for energy. You might even experience blurred vision.
To officially catch those silent alarms, doctors look for some very specific thresholds, and this brilliantly illustrates what they're looking for. I'm not going to bore you with a deep dive into the math right now. Feel free to pause the explainer if you want to review the numbers. But the big takeaway is that simple, everyday blood tests, like the HbA1c, which looks at your average blood sugar over a few months, or a quick fasting glucose test, these reveal exactly how well your body is managing sugar based on the American Diabetes Association's diagnostic ranges.
Obviously, if those numbers come back high, it's pretty easy to panic. But here is the incredibly empowering truth I really want you to take away from today's explainer. Prediabetes is highly reversible. While type 2 diabetes often requires lifelong medical management, prediabetes, it's not a life sentence. If you catch it early, you can literally stop it in its tracks. You can turn the whole car around before it gets any worse.
So here's your exact map for turning that car around. We call it the reversal plan. Making intensive lifestyle tweaks can seriously improve how your body uses insulin. Maintaining a healthy body weight through just a bit of modest fat loss, that's key. Eating a solid, balanced diet packed with fiber, think vegetables and whole grains, while drastically cutting down on sugary drinks and processed foods makes a massive difference. Also, the World Health Organization recommends getting about 150 to 300 minutes of moderate exercise a week. And that makes sense, right? Because your muscles actually use the most glucose out of anything in your body. Oh, and of course, stopping smoking, because believe it or not, smoking directly contributes to insulin resistance.
All right, so we've just mapped out the science, the risks, and a clear reversal plan all in under 7 minutes. But honestly, all this knowledge doesn't mean a whole lot without action. So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. When was the last time you checked your numbers? If you recognized yourself in any of those risk factors we talked about today, go ahead and book a doctor's appointment. Remember, 80% of people with prediabetes have absolutely no idea it's happening to them. So go get those numbers checked, take control of your health, and I will see you in the next explainer.
Please subscribe.